According to Google Maps, we can see everything that we need to see in Cordoba in less than 45 minutes. So let's go. Just kidding, because that's not the Spanish way. The Spanish way is to take your time and have tapas and drinks all along the way. All right, now let's go.
Our first stop after going through the garden was Plaza de las Tendillas, which is where we are right now. It's a great place to kind of just do some people watching, and we also got some breakfast in the square, just looking out at the fountains and all the shops. Kind of looks a little bit like Madrid over here with some of the architecture.
Also, the other thing about Spain and southern Spain in particular is that people here are like crazy friendly. As we were just kind of walking through the plaza taking some footage, some old guy came up to me and was like, "Do you speak Spanish?" And I said, "Un poco." And he then decided to tell me the entire history of El Gran Capitan, which is that statue thing there in the middle. I still don't know the whole story, but he was still very friendly. So gotta love that about southern Spain. As we were walking through La Juderia, or the Jewish Quarter, we found our next stop, Calleja de las Flores, which is a street famous for all of its flower pots hung along the walls. And when you get to the end of the street and look back, you have a perfectly framed shot of the Mosque-Cathedral in the background, which just so happens to be our next stop.
We're outside the Mosque-Cathedral, or Mosque Cathedral, here in Cordoba. Inside, it is one of the most interesting cathedrals that I've ever seen, because it really doesn't look much like a cathedral. It looks a lot more like the original mosque that it used to be hundreds of years ago, maybe even 1,000 or more years ago when it was built. And you can really see all of the history in the architecture. So like so many things in Spain, the Christians took over whatever cool architecture or cool buildings that the Muslims or the Jewish population built. In a lot of cases, they just totally bulldozed it all to the ground and built their own thing. But here they were like, yeah, this is pretty cool. We're just gonna add our own stuff on top of it. So while there's all kinds of the Moorish arch type of structures throughout the cathedral, in the middle is the typical Catholic altar, and it has all of its little chapels around the outside. So it was a really, really interesting mix of two different religions and two different architectural styles that blend really well together in this case. And even though it was 13 euros to get in, which is a little bit pricey by Spain standards, once you're inside you can really understand that it's worth it to go in and see it.
This is the Roman bridge that, while it's been rebuilt a number of times throughout the years, it has been here in some form or another for over 2,000 years, and until the mid-20th century, it was the only bridge to get across the river to Cordoba.
So we just finished at the Roman bridge, and the Alcazar is right nearby, so we were going to go in. But I kind of was hungry, so we were going to just go get something to eat and then come back. But I checked my phone, and Google said that the Alcazar closed in 30 minutes. So we said, okay, well, let's just try and knock it out then while we're over here. And then we looked at the sign, and it turns out that they're not even open on Mondays.
Tuesday to Saturday.
Yeah, but that's what it said.
I know. I don't think it is.
Guess we'll just have to come back some other time. So we're in the Plaza de Corredera, and it is really unique because the style it was built in, which is called Castilian style, is much more typical in central and northern Spain, and this is the only plaza in this style in all of Andalusia, which is the southernmost region of Spain.
Well, the last place that we wanted to go during our trip to Cordoba was the Palacio de Viana, which is like a palace of patios that was recommended to us by our friend Sarah's blog that she wrote a couple of years ago. It's not within like the 45-minute route that I initially planned, so it was a little bit outside, but we had all day here during our day trip, so we said, why not? Let's go check it out. And the reason to not check it out is because it's closed on Mondays, just like the Alcazar. So I guess the lesson here is, if you're trying to plan a trip to Cordoba, don't do it on Monday.